Just 1 year ago, Ja Morant's NBA stock was at an all-time high.
Who will be the dominant player of the 2020s? So Luka, Steph, Durant.
When you look at where the league is now, who do they need to make the face of the league? Who should Stephen A. be talking about day by day?
I think Ja Morant can become that guy, but definitely Ja Morant is a future face of the league.
And not Ja Morant is like Beyonce pulling up to Coachella.
Okay, weird analogy, Perkins. But the point is that in just a few short months, Ja Morant's NBA future has drastically changed.
Coming out of the NBA regarding Ja Morant and the suspension handed down from the NBA, and he will be suspended for 25 games according to our Adrian Wojnarowski.
And again, listen, his career, his future, again, as a face of this league, is in peril if his behavior doesn't change.
How did we get here? Ja Morant was the people's champ of the NBA. His high-flying dunks, the dancing, everything about Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies were clicking. But what a lot of fans don't realize is that there's way more to this rapid downfall than just the infamous Instagram lives. Here's how it all began and what the real cost of Ja's mistakes mean for him, the Grizzlies, and the NBA as a whole. Over the summer of 2022, Ja Morant allegedly got into 2 altercations. One was when he beat up a 17-year-old during a pickup game. Yeah, you heard that right, a 17-year-old. The story goes that Morant was hosting some high school players at his home when things got a little bit too heated. Morant claimed self-defense and was not charged to police, so the story didn't really go anywhere. The second altercation occurred at a shopping mall. Allegedly, his mom was in a dispute and called Ja for backup. Morant showed up with 9 friends to the shopping mall and apparently refused to leave until one of his friends eventually pushed the security officer. At least there were no guns in the second story, but that's already 2 heated arguments in just one summer before Ja even began the NBA season. Now let's fast forward to January 2023. The Grizzlies head up to Indiana and one of Ja's friends is sitting courtside and he gets into it with some of the Pacers players. The game goes on, the Grizzlies get the win, but that's not the end of the story. A report comes out a few days later that the Pacers staff saw an SUV coming towards the team bus with a red laser pointed at them. Apparently it was from the car Ja Morant was in with his friends, the same guys who just got removed from the game and banned from the stadium. This is when Ja Morant's private school gangster memes really took off, and Uncle Shannon Sharp got on the air to give Morant some advice.
Stop pretending. All you do is yap and talk about, oh, I'm going to let him live to see another day. I'm going to do this. You're not going to do nothing. What you're going to do is get yourself in trouble, put yourself and your family in harm's way when you don't have to.
So Morant learned his lesson, right? Wrong.
All that stuff, pretty much false.
It was all false, but they said there was like a confrontation back there.
I answered that question earlier. I'm done with that topic.
March 1st, 2023, Powerade announces Ja Morant is going to be the face of their company. Morant is slated to star in the company's $10 million national campaign. 2 days later, the Grizz make a stop in Denver to go head-to-head with the top seed in the Nuggets. Denver blows out the Grizzlies. After the matchup, Ja decides to hit the strip club. Maybe he needed to blow off some steam after the big loss, right? Nothing really out of the ordinary for an NBA player. While he's at the strip club, Ja ends up on Instagram Lives and shows that he has a gun in his hand. 2 days after being announced as the face of one of the largest sports drinks companies in the world. Of course, the video goes viral and the Memphis Grizzlies take action, suspending Ja for 8 games without pay.
Why are you in the strip club with no shirt? Why are you walking around with a weapon? And why'd you hit the live button?
Keep in mind, the Grizzlies are the number 2 seed in the NBA. The league has never felt as wide open as it did this season, and a small market team like Memphis finally had a chance to get their first championship. What felt like could be the greatest season in Grizzlies history turned into an absolute nightmare. And even Powerade decided to pull their Ja Morant commercial, which was going to air on the NCAA tournament. Ja ends up serving his suspension, checks into a rehabilitation center, and apologizes.
Being a positive, light now with everything, that I've made, everything that I've learned in my 2 weeks.
Now, this isn't the first time the NBA found themselves in an ugly situation with guns. In 2009, Washington Wizards star Gilbert Arenas brought loaded guns into the Wizards locker room and threatened his own teammate.
They were put on his chair, and I had a note wrote, pick one.
Arenas was suspended for 50 games from the NBA, hit with a felony charge, and did not last much longer in the league due to this drama and his injuries. At first, Arenas did not necessarily condemn Ja for his night in Denver.
So the question is this, do we accept this behavior?
I do.
Do you accept it as the team?
Arenas said the owner of the Grizzlies should simply ignore it, just look the other way and not discipline his star player. But it seems like lack of discipline is what got Ja into these situations. And he proved that this was the case after being eliminated in the first round of the playoffs and then doing it again. Memphis suspends Ja indefinitely from all basketball operations. Nike removes his sneaker from their website. As everybody knows, at the end of the season, the media votes on who they think should win the regular season awards. Morant finished the season averaging 26 points and 8 assists, and led the Grizzlies to the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. However, he isn't voted into any of the 3 All-NBA teams. If you're thinking, what's the big deal? Ja missing out on his All-NBA means that he's no longer eligible for his Supermax extension.
He didn't make any of the All-NBA teams this season. I think certainly the suspension played a part in people's voting, and now he's really already out of the mix for that next year. So in terms of getting that Supermax versus the max, getting that $230 million plus you talked about, Stephen A., he's not able to get that now.
Because of his 2 pistol-packed Instagram lives, Ja cost himself $40 million. Morant is the heart and soul of the Memphis Grizzlies. He set the tone with his attitude and extreme level of confidence. The team adopted his demeanor, and is a large part of the reason they've been so impressive in recent seasons. But now, is Ja's personality just going to become a distraction? The situation kind of reminds me of a young Allen Iverson. Both skinny guards, the hair, the tattoo, and the highlights. AI did it with his nasty, iconic crossovers, and Ja has been doing it with flying through the air and demolishing whoever gets between him and the rim. As much as Iverson was loved for some of his infamous moments, like stepping over Tyronn Lue, getting his hair braided on the bench, or his infamous rant about practice,
listen, we talking about practice.
He just couldn't stay out of trouble, even being arrested several times and spending months in jail. As much as Iverson is appreciated now, is this really what we want for Ja Morant? Morant has the chance to lead his team to new heights they've never reached, to be a level of player they never had, and continue transforming the Grizzlies into title contenders. But with the distraction he caused leading into the playoffs, and now missing over a quarter of the next season, the bad news just keeps on coming. According to Gilbert Arenas, Morant has to make some drastic changes if he wants to reclaim his image and get back to where he was in 2022.
It's to be back where you were 2 weeks ago, and that, unfortunately, that's going to take about 2 years. Last step before crossing that finish line of image changing is he's going to have to cut his hair. That's just the harsh truth.
Hopefully, the millions of dollars he lost and the 25-game suspension will be enough for Morant to finally get his act together, because he's definitely one of the most exciting players we have in the NBA today.
Free up Murphy. Morant, takes off and changes. Goes inside, layup blocked from behind.
Enjoy it, playing Ja.
Morant spins, what a play by Morant. Morant wants the line. Morant behind the back. Skies and jam.
If you enjoyed these longer videos, hit the subscribe button and tick the notification bell. I have a ton of awesome content coming out, and I always tailor my videos for the Henry Hoops audience. So if you don't want to miss out, hit the subscribe button. Peace.